Yes, people, welcome back to another episode of Bo Don't Lie with yours truly, Humphrey. And yeah, I haven't been on the channel for quite a bit now. I haven't been on the channel for almost a week now. Just wanted to watch a few of the playoff games just to see, some storylines that will materialize. We do have a jam-packed show today. There's been quite a few games that we'll take a look at. We'll take a look at the game 3 that happened last night with the Brooklyn Nets. I always struggle to say. We'll take a look at the Nets versus the Bucks game 3. Also, I'll take a look at the first 2 games that happened with the Clippers and the Jazz. We'll also take a look at the Nuggets versus the Suns, and last but not least, the Sixers versus the Hawks. But we'll firstly start off with the game that happened last night with the Nets versus the Bucks. And that game felt like a throwback. It felt like I was back in the 90s. Do you know, it was such a throwback, proper old school type of game, which finished like 86, 83. It was an ugly game. It was a game only a mother could love because it was just not pretty at all. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen so many brick shots. In the first quarter as well, I think the Bucks went on they started the game 30-11. I nearly turned off the game because I thought, Bucks come back home, take care of game 3 and get ready for game 4. I literally nearly turned off the game, but I'm like, let me stick with it a little bit. And obviously the Nets crawled back into it, absolutely rinsed the high pick and roll with Bruce Brown, getting those little floaters over Brook Lopez. And with the Bucks as well, you do have to try and keep it tight, try and get it to the closing stage of the fourth quarter to see how they'll use Giannis, see if Giannis will unfold and stuff like that, which looked like it was going to happen. But Chris Middleton, literally had the game of his life, because that game for the Bucks is so important. Because if they had lost that game, I think it would have been a sweep. Do you know what I mean? I think it would have been a sweep. But yeah, they came out on top. With KD. KD didn't have his most efficient game. Obviously, he dropped 30 points, which he does in his sleep. But PJ Tucker did a great job on him. And for a player that had a great game, he had 0 points. But yeah, it's all the intangibles, the things that he does that isn't on the stat sheet that won them the game. But with Giannis, I do want to talk about Giannis a little bit, because I don't think he's a number 1 option. I don't think Giannis is a number 1 option on a championship team. But because his lack of skill set, especially in late game situations, really does it really does tell. Because I even mentioned in my previous video that when it gets to close games, they do most of the time give the ball to Chris Middleton, who like I said, had literally the game of his life. And I think it was game 2. Giannis was on the free throw line, and the ref must have blew the whistle. And I thought, there was like a fan that ran onto the court or something like that. But they said it was like a 10-second violation on the free throw line. I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't know that was a rule. But Giannis takes forever and a day on the other free throw line just to either brick the shot or to airball it. So Giannis, he doesn't look comfortable. Jim, he doesn't look comfortable at the free throw line. He doesn't really have, his bag is not heavy. Do you know what I mean? He only has one move, try and literally run through you or try Euro step and dunk it. And most of the time in the playoffs, when teams build a wall, literally this, you're forced to kick the ball out for threes and stuff like that. And I think his limited offense doesn't really bode well for the Bucks. But we'll see what happens in game 4, because I don't think the Nets will shoot as bad as they did with Joe Harris, the 3-point specialist, going 1 of 11 and 1 of 7 from 3. That I don't think that's going to happen in game 4. I see the Nets splitting it back at Wisconsin and taking it back to the Brooklyn Nets and taking it back to Brooklyn to close the series out in 5 possibly. Yeah, I don't see the Bucks winning the series. But again, who knows? We'll see. Right, so moving on swiftly to the Clippers versus the Jazz. And I said in the previous, I don't know if it was my previous video or the video before that, about how the Jazz will pose a completely different threat to the Clippers, because the Clippers, it looks like what they're doing now, they're literally making everything difficult for themselves. It's like they're taking the long way route, because they had the chance to steal a game over there, split the series, because that's the away team's main objective, to either split the series. If you get both games there, that's literally the perfect situation. But they'll have good runs, but then always come unstuck when the game is really tight. and late in the fourth quarter. And you know, with Donovan Mitchell, like I said in my last video, he's ridiculous. I think he's a superstar. And what I've realized with these young players like the Donovan Mitchells, the Trae Youngs, the Luka Doncic's, in the playoffs, it's like they get even better. You know what I mean? Because I'm seeing a lot of the word superstar being thrown around a lot, and it can be a little bit of an overreaction. But if you're, you know, playing decent in the regular season, but then in the playoffs, your numbers expand. You're getting more points, more rebounds, more assists. Like, you're having more of an effect in the playoffs. Like I said, that's where you make your name. That's the pinnacle of, you know, NBA basketball, or just basketball in general. The NBA playoffs, they're performing at such a high level. It's very difficult not to, you know, throw the superstar tag on them. But you might have to reel it in a little bit. But the way he's playing right now, sensational, absolutely sensational, and I'm loving every single bit of it. Again, with Paul George and Kawhi, I know they had a 7-game series with the Dallas Mavericks, but they have to get both games back at the Staples Center, because if the Jazz split the series there, which I think they will, I think the Clippers will lose in 5. But again, with the playoffs, it's all about you know, momentum and stuff like that. We do. I've been guilty of this as well. I do tend to overreact a little bit, you know, because at this point, what the Jazz have done, they've taken care of home court, and that's what you do. You know, at home, you take care of the first 2 games, and then you go hoping to split. So obviously now the game going back to the Clippers, to the Staples Center, the Clippers will look to even the series 2-2. But the way the Jazz are playing, the way they kick the ball out around, there's shooters everywhere. Donovan Mitchell penetrating the defense, kicking it out for 3-point shooters. Like, the Jazz play beautiful basketball. You know what I mean? It's like they always find the open shot, and they've made 19 3-point shots per game this whole season. So and it's not because they have like absolute snipers, because they're generating the most open shot possible. And NBA players, if you leave them wide open, they're more or less gonna make the shot. So it'll be very interesting to see how, you know, the series unfolds in game 3 and 4. But I'll keep you guys updated in the next video I make. Moving on to the Suns versus the Nuggets. Now again, just like the Jazz Clippers, the Suns have kept, you know, they've taken care of home court and going back to Denver with a 2-0 lead. And quick congratulations to Nikola Jokic for winning league MVP. He's been well deserved of the award. But like I said, I think CP3 should have won it because of literally exactly what he's doing right now. Last game he had 15 assists, no turnovers. You would not find me a point guard that can do that. Do you know what I mean? He absolutely runs the team. If they need him to score, he can score as well. I thought his shoulder would have kept him, you know, out of the playoffs, but he's a warrior. He really needs this deep playoff run with LeBron, you know, out of the playoffs. It's literally the perfect opportunity to make it to the finals. But I'd love to see the Suns and the Jazz in the Western Conference Finals. It would just be like, you know, old times. But that series, the Nuggets are gonna have to take care of home. But again, we'll see. It's all about, you know, momentum, and the momentum right now is with the Suns. But we'll see how that pans out. And last but not least, we have the Sixers versus the Hawks. We have the Sixers versus the Hawks, and this series is split 2-2. So again, like, the Hawks has gone to the Sixers and done what every road team looks to do, which is split the series. Of course, Trae Young went off in the first game, but with playoffs, coaches do make in-game adjustments or game-by-game adjustments, and the adjustment Doc Rivers done was to put Ben Simmons, who I had as my Defensive Player of the Year, had Ben Simmons on Trae Young, who's Simmons being a 6'10" point guard. I mean, what the hell? Do you know what I mean? Defensively, he's absolutely insane. Such a cheat code, and he's literally had Trae Young in a straitjacket. Do you know what I mean? And Embiid, of course, doing his thing. I don't know how the hell Embiid is scoring 40 points literally effortlessly with a meniscus tear in his knee. I didn't even know that was a thing, or you could do that. But that kind of speaks to how special Embiid of talent Embiid is. But you know, the series is going back to the A, and yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I see the Sixers splitting the series there as well, or possibly winning both games there, because I think the Sixers, like I said, they're too big, too strong, too good for the Hawks. I'm trying not to underrate the Hawks, but I don't see how the Sixers don't come out there with one or possibly both the games. But so far, so good. Yeah, I'm really loving the playoffs. Like I keep saying, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hope you enjoy the show. Leave your comments down below. Anything that I've missed, anything you want to talk about, leave them in the comment section, and we'll have that conversation. Also, follow me on Instagram at BallDontLieUk, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, ball don't lie, baby.